What if I tell you that a man who spent 27 years in prison, who was once called a criminal, stood one day as the president of his own country? And the same soldiers who once arrested him saluted him with respect. Yes, this is not a story of power, this is a story of freedom. Today, we are going to walk with Nelson Mandela on his historic journey described in Nelson Mandela Long Walk to Freedom. Let us begin. This chapter is an extract from Nelson Mandela's autobiography, Long Walk to Freedom. It describes a historic day, 10th May 1994, the day Nelson Mandela became South Africa's first black president. This moment was not just important for South Africa but for the entire world because it marked the end of apartheid, a cruel system of racial discrimination. The inauguration day. Mandela begins by describing the morning. The day dawned bright and clear. This line shows hope, a fresh beginning, and a new chapter in history. For several days before the inauguration, Mandela had been surrounded by world leaders and dignitaries who came to pay their respects. This shows that the world recognized South Africa's struggle and victory. The venue and its symbolism. The ceremony took place in a sandstone amphitheatre formed by the Union buildings in Pretoria. For decades, this place symbolized white supremacy and racial domination. But on this day, it had transformed into a rainbow gathering of different colors and nations. This phrase beautifully means people of different races and countries coming together in unity. A place of oppression had become a place of equality. Personal moment. Mandela shares a personal detail. He was accompanied by his daughter Zinani. This reminds us that behind a great leader is a human being, a father, and a family man. Display of power with purpose. Suddenly, South African jets, helicopters, and troop carriers flew over the Union buildings. Earlier, these forces protected apartheid. Now, they demonstrated loyalty to democracy and the new government. Mandela noticed something deeply emotional. The same generals who would have arrested him years ago were now saluting him and pledging loyalty. This shows how power changes when justice replaces oppression. Two national anthems. On this day, two national anthems were sung. Whites sang Die Stem and blacks sang Nkosi Sikelel e Africa. Though neither group knew the full lyrics of the other, they sang together. This symbolized reconciliation, forgiveness, and unity. Mandela's speech. When Mandela's turn came, he pledged to obey to the constitution and devote himself to the well-being of the nation. He spoke of an extraordinary human disaster. This disaster was apartheid, a system that caused suffering, humiliation, and injustice for decades. Then he spoke of a glorious human achievement. This achievement was freedom, democracy, and equality for all. Message to the world. Mandela thanked international leaders for supporting South Africa during its darkest times. He said this victory belonged to the humanity, not just South Africa. He said it belonged to all humanity in the entire world. He promised that poverty, discrimination, and suffering would be removed, and he declared powerfully, "Never, never, and never again shall this beautiful land experience the oppression of one by another." Sense of history. Mandela says he was overwhelmed with a sense of history. He explains how in the early 20th century, white people created a system of racial domination. By the end of the century, that system had been overturned forever. This freedom came through the unimaginable sacrifices of thousands of people. Courage and resilience. Mandela remembers great leaders like Oliver Tambo, Walter Sisulu, and Chief Luthuli. From them, he learned the true meaning of courage. Courage is not the absence of fear but the triumph over it. Even in prison, Mandela saw a glimmer of humanity in a guard's behavior. This proved that human goodness can be hidden but never destroyed. What is freedom? Mandela explains freedom in stages. As a child, he believed freedom meant running in fields, swimming in streams, living without restrictions. Later, he realized this freedom was an illusion. True freedom means living with dignity, earning a livelihood, and raising a family lawfully. But the greatest truth he learnt was freedom is indivisible. If one person is not free, no one is truly free. Twin obligations. Mandela says every man has twin obligations, one to his family and one to his people and country. Under apartheid, he could not fulfill both. He was forced to choose his people over his family, leading to a twilight existence of secrecy and struggle. Let me conclude, children. This chapter teaches us that freedom demands sacrifice, hatred is learnt, love is natural, and both the oppressor and the oppressed lose their humanity. Nelson Mandela's journey reminds us that true leadership is rooted in courage, forgiveness, and comparison. If this lesson made you think, pause, and reflect, then remember freedom is not given, it is earned. Share this lesson, discuss it, and apply its message in your life. Because when you stand for justice, you walk the long walk to freedom too. If you have understood this lesson, subscribe to my channel, like, share it with your friends, and also comment below your thoughts.